One custodian cleans the suite of offices in 5 hours. When a second worker is asked to join the regular custodian, the job only takes 3.5 hours. So how long does it take the second worker to do the same job alone? Well, one of the first things they have you do, I noticed with the help me solve this or give you an example, is they changed all their hours into minutes. You don't have to do that. You can, but you don't have to. I'll show you both ways, but I think it's easier if you don't. So the one custodian cleans the suite of offices, so he does the job, one job in 5 hours. Now, when the second worker is asked to join, which you don't know how long the one job is going to take, so we use an X for that. We don't know how many hours. That is going to equal to 1 over the 3.5 hours, or 3 1/3 hours, sorry. So we're going to have to clean this up a bit. I don't like the 3 1/3 and the denominator of my fraction there anyway. I'm going to change that 3 1/3 into an improper fraction. So 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 more is 10. So that's the same thing as 10 over 3. And I have that divided by, that's 1 divided by that. And the rest of it looks the same. But if I'm going to take 1, and I'll do this to the side so you can see what happens here. So I'm going to rewrite that as 1 divided by 10 over 3. Well, that's the same thing as 1 times, and we flip our fraction and multiply. Well, 1 times 3 tenths is just 3 tenths. So I can replace this with 3 tenths because it's the same thing. So now I have 1/5 plus 1 over x is equal to 3 over 10. Now, in order to solve this, I need my x to not be in the denominator. So I'm going to have to find the LCD, least common denominator, for these three denominators. And my denominators are 5, x, and 10. Well, for 5 and 10, the least common denominator is just 10. 10 is a number that both 5 and 10 will divide into evenly. And so I need the 10, but I also need an x, because if I don't have an x, x won't go into 10 evenly, but it'll go into 10x evenly. So that's when I'm going to multiply everything by 10x. Now when I do that, I get 10x times 1/5 plus 10x times 1 over x equals 3 tenths times 10x. Now you'll know if you don't get the least common denominator when you multiply through, because it won't leave you with fractions still. If you use a common denominator, you won't have fractions left in your equation. So 5 will go into 10 twice. So I'll have a 2 and an x left in this first part here. X will go into x. So for the second part, I'll have a plus 10. And then 10 will go into 10, and I'll be left with a 3x. And this equation looks much nicer. 2x plus 10 equals 3x. Because if I subtract 2x from either side, I have my answer. I have x is equal to 10. So it was 10 hours that it takes the second worker alone. So the tricky part on that is this first bit where you have to have your 1 over 3 1/3, and you need to change that to an improper fraction and then flip it because you've got 1 over that number, which you can do the division to the side. That's what I did. And it makes for a very nice equation. Otherwise, you will want to take and transfer all of your hours, convert those into minutes. So 5 hours, and then you can write your equation. It will be 5 hours is the same as, and there's 60 minutes per hour, so 5 times 60 is 300 minutes. And then 3 1/3 hours, 3 hours is 3 times 60 is 180 minutes. And then a third of an hour is 20 minutes. There are 3 sets of 20 minutes in your hour. So you've got 180 plus another 20 minutes, so you end up with 200 minutes if you convert 3 1/3 hours, or just multiply 3 1/3 times 60. So your equation would look like the first custodian could do the job in 300 minutes. The second one we don't know. They're going to work together, so we add those up, and that would be equal to the job being done for them both together in 200 minutes. And if you find a common denominator for this one, and you multiply through and solve, you should still get 10. So either way will work.